you really read into it?
Well, that's the thing. One match down, 23 to go, so I guess it's difficult to put too much of an emphasis on just one match, but you can put an emphasis on 2, 3, and 4. You need to start well. You need to bounce back if you're a team like Fury or Bay. You need to have a better performance compared to match 1. And if you're Divine, Day Trade, Brew Ram, or Division X, I guess, in the top 4, it's about repeat performances. You know, you spoke about, in terms of the average number of points you need per game if you're going to be winning. PCS Apac, it's around 8 to 10. Well, right now, you've got 6 teams that are already in that average mark. Who can continue that? That's the real question.
Many questions as well, Xenox. There are plenty.
There's always a lot.
There are plenty. Definitely on day 1, we come in with a lot, and we're hoping to answer them over the course of this season. Fairly nice playing path, though, here to start off game 2. Straight through the center of the map. Nothing to get overly disappointed with for really any team. Everyone's going to have the pick of their favorite location. You can really get anywhere with this kind of a drop. So I think that's pretty good as well to start things off. You don't want to see anything too crazy in the early or the late stages of the tournament. I think if we're going to get like a weird plane or if we're going to get a weird circle, I probably want to be seeing it around, you know, games 10, 11, something like that, where we're in the center of the pool. It doesn't feel like it makes that much of a difference, even though theoretically it can. End of the day, nothing too crazy there, at least to start things off. We'll have to see where this circle does initially start. And looks like we're going to have a potential repeat of what we saw in our first game, bang over Monte Nuovo. So at least all the teams are going to be pretty happy with what they need to do as far as the rotations are confirmed. And wow, I really like that, by the way. The fact that the pips swapped over. We've never had that kind of technology before, so that's awesome.
That was cool. Jordan is just like low-key geeking out right there. He's
like,
oh wow, that was so cool. Talk about repeat performances, I guess. How about a repeat of circle number 1 here for our second and final game of Miramar of the night already? It's a bit like that, I guess, when you only play the 2 matches out of the 4 games, I guess, on a map. So we say goodbye to Miramar after this one. And it goes back to the old foray, I guess. We bring it up a lot, but there are some teams that do perform a lot better on Miramar than they do on Erangel, for instance. Right now, I guess we don't have enough information to really go off of other than what we've seen from match number 1 and what we're about to see from match number 2. But typically, I would say after about 12 matches, that halfway point, you do get that understanding. It's like, okay, these guys are a little bit better on Miramar, and these guys are a little bit better on Erangel. And then your expectations kind of shift. Right now, we don't really have many expectations on a per map basis outside of, I guess, just teams like LG Divine, Ram, Fury. You have your expectations based on previous results, but who knows? Maybe a team like Angel Alliance, Jordan, could potentially be a Miramar team.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, they are a team that sort of looked pretty decent towards the early stages of game 1. I didn't really catch how they went down in that game because that was the time where there was just chaos everywhere. You know, there was players dying left, right, and center, and I guess not too much of a surprise that they sort of got caught up in that mix. It's one of those things that sometimes you are just put in a position and there's not really much you can do about it apart from try to fight your way out. And they got some good points on the board, 5 points. I mean, it's not astronomical. It's nothing to get too, you know, excited about, but we start things off nicely. It's like I said, it's nice to keep the scoreboard ticking over, even if it is 5 points a game. It's not enough to win the season, but it might be enough to make top 8, top 5. I don't know. We'll see what the projections are actually looking like, as a few shots do ring out across the map in game number 2. Yeah. I think you probably need about 6 or 7 points based on the projections to be hitting a top 5 placing.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Every team's got their different, I guess, expectations for themselves. Some will be happy with a top 5 placing. I mean, if you were to tell Angel Alliance, hey, by the end of it, you finish top 5, they would be rapt. So, just all comes down to what is the internal expectations, I guess, for a team. You know, even sort of going back to PCS2 Apac, for a team like Fury, their internal expectation was first. But if they did get second or third, it wouldn't have been at the end of the world. So in a way, it wasn't that bad. Other teams, like if you're Ram, surely first is really your only expectation here after many thirds and seconds. Obviously for LG Divine, their expectation is to go back to back. If I'm a team like, probably Victim Rise, I'd be probably setting my expectation at top 5. So that's sort of where each team is different. As Unicorn Cyber, one of the popular teams in terms of the Pick'em challenges. We didn't see much of them in game number 1. 0 points, currently tied last with Ferox, so hard to really speak too much about them. It's the first time we've seen them, of course, this year for 2020. We'll see what they've got, I guess, here for match number 2.
Well, NAMC just having a bit of a cheeky peek. Watching his teammates rotate past as well. So he's kind of like the eagle up on the mountain, keeping an eye out for any enemies that his teammates might struggle with. Bay as well on that rotate in. Nothing too crazy happening at the start of game number 2. Picados where Bay are going to be rotating past. There's FTF nearby, but again, not close enough to really be in a particularly dangerous position for either of these two teams. I think we're going to just see a bit of a slower start to game 2, similar to what we saw in game 1. Tends to be how Miramar plays out. LG Divine maybe has a bit of an insight. There's a team in front of them, but waiting for NAMC to catch up before they do anything silly.
Well, you say slower start. I do agree. Definitely agree. But it's going to be slightly different because you're not going to want to repeat the same mistakes from last time. LG Divine, in match number 1, they were on the very western portion of this circle, which is kind of where Division X are. There was a couple of teams actually around there. They realized very quickly, the circle ain't going over there. You don't want to position yourself there, so they've changed it up. And then whenever a team changes it up in a similar circle like this, they're bound to then run into someone else. So now it's like, game number 1, Magic Esports had those sort of Alpozo fields free. Now all of a sudden they've got to deal with LG Divine. That's something different. That shakes it up a little bit. Of course, that's only phase number 1, and they don't have to get really too close. Loki's over at Power Grid here for Battle Arena Elites. They're going to want to also make sure they don't make the same mistakes. Last time they committed a little bit too hard to the northern side of the circle. Once it shifted down south, they were in a lot of trouble. But well, for the slow start, we may actually see a very early engagement nonetheless, as Victim Rise just above to From the Future. So Moy was low. He's now being able to heal back up. Gypsy Danger actually going to get right up into the face of this one against Chibaret, who has the advantage here. And Gemfos, though, with the angle, also helping out for Victim Rise. So not only have they got that high ground, but they've even got the flanks covered as well. From the Future in disarray. And Sophia looking for the third party, looking to get involved and looking to capitalize and steal a kill or 2 away from Victim Rise.
Yeah, Bay have recognized the opportunity is there. You can see Nefahor also flanking around to the north. Kamal's just in front of Sophia, although I don't think Sophia is aware of that at the moment. Here should be a point on the board on offer for him. It's taken away, though, by Victim Rise. They'll confirm their kills. And From the Future, eliminated very early, so I'll eat my words. That one is definitely an explosive start. I thought things would start off slowly, but it's been anything but. And now Kamal's, courtesy of that northern flank from Nefahor, will perhaps suffer an untimely end to game number 2.
8.5 minutes gone. And From the Future will have to try their luck out, I guess, over on Erangel compared to Miramar. Didn't quite go too well. Just the 2 points from the first 2 games. And Bay, though, I guess, want to maybe potentially keep trying to follow along and find out where Victim Rise have sort of gone off to, but it's risky. It's phase 1. You don't really need to make those maneuvers just yet. I mean, you might even get a phase 2 feed over towards Power Grid, which would be great for Battle Arena Elites.
Ooh, that is a dirty one.
Get that, which has completely changed the landscape here for match number 2 dramatically. Division X Gaming basically get a gift. Ferox as well on this western portion of Monte Nuevo. Great spot to be. They are a little bit separate. May actually elect to group up here, pretty much expecting, I guess, the impending traffic coming into their location. Unicorn all the way to the bridge of Vaya del Mar, close to Purple Magic, but yeah, Purple Moon, I should say. And Monte Nuevo, though, is going to be very, very busy in a minute.
Well, Purple Mood are going to need some Purple Magic if they do actually want to get into this circle fairly safely, because there's going to be a lot of teams headed straight in. If they're not there early, Purple Moon's going to get caught on the rotation. They're coming from down the south, which is not a great place to be. But luckily, they are one of the teams that's closer and earlier moving than most of the others. So they might be okay in that respect. But I do remember having a look at a circle similar to this in ANZ Champs. We sort of nicknamed it Death Valley because it really does feel like that. Once the circle starts to shrink, if it goes even further over toward the west, there's just that one road. And it's like a valley in between two hills. And if you're in there, you're dead. If you're not, you're probably still dead because there isn't that much real estate actually to take up on this area of the map. Ferox under pressure, not only from one team, but from two by the looks of things. Booraram also copping some shots there, courtesy of Sophia, as they rotate their way in. And this is going to be a storyline that we see for the rest of Game 2. It's just going to be constant fighting with a circle like this. When you consider 25% of the circle is just unplayable terrain because of the mountain out to the west, there's just so much less room to play for everyone, and they're going to be on top of each other a lot earlier than you would expect them to be normally.
11 minutes has now transpired. Minute and a half till phase 3, which I'm absolutely curious to see how that one is going to shape up, considering what we've seen here for phase 2. That net goes straight in. Doesn't quite catch Rain. Does take a little bit of damage, but not a lot. Tanoi going to go for a second one. That one's going to obviously miss the mark. The Molotov inside will miss the mark as well. Hisaki for Cerberus Esports looking to get involved as well. South portion of Monte Nuevo. Kim Siva for Sharper Esport. And to be fair, I think Ferox have done really well here, all things considered. They've got that 2-2 split. It's obviously been Bryn and Rain having to deal with the brunt of the damage from Sharper Esport. Bryn has to be precise here with that Scar. Unfortunately, doesn't get the knockdown he was looking for. Even despite the help they're getting from this third party as well, not able to capitalize. Rain just under so much pressure. Maximus, Kim Siva, they're all pushing in for Sharper Esports. Sixaxe was knocked. Tanoi obviously died at some point throughout that, courtesy of Hisaki. And Ferox, Sweet Soul, and Monty doing as much as possible, but unfortunately they have to say goodbye to their brethren on the other side of these fields. 30 seconds till phase 3, and not the start again Ferox are looking for.
Yeah, they definitely get punished for the 2-2 split that they had there. Would have probably been better off just all grouping up. I know that's an easy thing to say in hindsight, but considering the fact that this is a circle that doesn't have that many compounds, it doesn't have that much real estate, the chances are teams are going to be looking to breach if they're not in a safe position already, and that is what has happened to Ferox. So unfortunately they lose a couple. It's not the end of the world for them though, because as you're going to see here, Circle Shift is going to go right on top of them, and they do still have a couple of players alive, and 2 is better than 1, which is better than 0. It's still enough to play this game out and potentially get some points on the board. The teams that aren't too happy to see a shift like that, Purple Moody Sport, you sort of mentioned them a little bit earlier. Again, they're going to have to be on the move. Division X Gaming, down to the southern part of the circle. It's not awful for them, but they gave up the compound that LG Divine is now in. And I'm quite interested to see what LG Divine can do with this one, because if they're able to get away with a very good finish again, Division X Gaming might be kicking themselves for the 50-50 that they had to make to get all 4 players into a similar position.
It feels like, though, at some point, a team surely is going to breach the 2 members of Ferox. It's a great position for this circle. LG Divide, if it does go north, they can actually take the hill as well, above Ferox too. So that is certainly going to be a playground at some point later on, depending on, of course, the way that this circle continues to shift. There are a lot of teams already down to the south. Buriram and Magic Esports inside of Monte Nuevo. Victim Rise, Samoy and Gemforce making their way over as well. No kills yet for Angel Alliance, but they got 4 up. They're close by to Unicorn Cyber. I guess from what we've seen over the first 2 matches as well, we'll probably back Angel Alliance in this fight as well. And then does land the first tag, but 2 ends? Tunes? I'm not even going to bother again there, Jordan. I've messed that one up completely.
Dude, I know, anytime you get yourself into a situation like that, I just leave it because there's no saving you.
Yeah. No. No saving Best 1-3-0-1 either. Mad Dog finding that elimination, and Mad Dog just continues to be the Mad Dog for Angel Alliance. Finding frags in game 1 and now getting on the board here for game number 2 as well. I'm not sure if Unicorn are going to make it out here alive. Angel Alliance basically have nowhere else to go but those buildings in front of them. Waikika Mukau from a distance, though, getting involved. They've lost Flood at some point earlier on. Fury down to 3. and not the start to their campaign as well either. And for the Oceanic teams, it's a bit disappointing right now.
Well, that's not to say that it will remain that way. It's an aggressive 1-1-1 split from Fury. We know that they're a team that does like to cover a lot of ground. See where this next circle shift does go. I think that's going to tell us a lot, just based on the fact that there's this sort of no man's land in the middle of the circle right now. Unless you're Ferox, who is sort of locking down one of the compounds, or Sharper Esport, who's locking down the other. You can see there that field in the middle. It's quite difficult terrain to cross. So if this goes north or south or west or east, it's going to be really rough. And it actually ends up going over Monte Nuevo. So that's a really dirty one indeed. It's great news for Fury, though. They have all 3 of their players in. They don't have to move at all. Same for Ferox, keeping their 2 players there. Cerberus, Booram, 4 players alive on the eastern side of Monte Nuevo. But LG Divine, Division X, Purple Mood, all those teams starting to come in from the western side of the map, the northern side of the map, the southern side of the map. Basically, if you weren't east, you were left, right, out. And unfortunately, that means we're going to see a few teams making a fairly quick exit, I'd say, here. LG Divine do the smart thing, though. They move early, lock down at least a position before the rest of the teams make their move. And it's the teams generally that move last that tend not to last long, because everyone else is going to be looking in their direction and quite safe in their compound. So here comes Purple Mood, reaching onto Ferox. They might have the knowledge that this is only 2 players if they've been scouting that building well. And in that case, then that's not actually a bad shout from Purple Mood. 4v2, even though it's a late rotation in, you can definitely make that work.
Yeah, I think it's this south portion, though, where we're going to see fireworks. Unicorn, Angel Alliance, Division X as well, who... I'm a little bit bewildered how they have found themselves in this position, considering they got the hard shift for Phase 1. They, I think, messed it up a little bit for Phase 2. Sweet Soul and Monty, though, their time potentially coming to an end here against Purple Mood. It is only a 2 versus 3, and look, they're inside of this compound. It's all up to Purple Mood to clear it. All it takes is that first knock, and then it's a 2 versus 2. May not be as easy as it's... looks potentially for Purple Mood. There goes Unicorn Cyber. Unfortunately, they do meet their demise. They stay at the bottom of the leaderboard so far after the first 2 matches. LG Divine, they made that first pit stop. They moved over to the better spot, just on the outskirts here of Monty. Good spot here for LG Divine. Here's the situation, though, with Ferox and Purple Mood, who have used a lot of these smokes already so far. There's a nade for Monty. I said it before, though, Jordan, if they can find 1 knock, a 2 versus 2 here for Ferox looks good.
Finding that knock, though, is probably easier said than done, Xenox. Grenade missing just moments, ringing in his ears, you can hear, but no substantial damage. And I'd say, again, Ferox are probably happy to just let this one peter out for the moment. Bonotica gets an off, but he's instantly traded down by Nan. Mandog will find that kill, get the point on the board for Angel Alliance. Yes, he can. So, again, not a bad start for Angel Alliance. And code on the screen as well for those of you who might have tabbed away, not paying attention. Check that one out now.
Just the 1 kill so far for Division X Gaming, and as I said before as well, the position they're in right now is not good. Sightlines from Hydra Gaming, which apparently are very strong, because Simon not only gets the knock, but gets the flush as well onto Fergus from basically almost the northern side of the circle to the very far south, which is where Division X are at. Then they have to deal with Angel Alliance, potentially even Daytrade as well. I definitely wouldn't have pictured this match going the way it did when I first saw Division X in phase number 1 and the position that they had. As we see for phase 5, it does go towards Monte Nuevo once again, right on top of Cerberus Esports. Mad Dog from above does have a nade, but he can't really push down the hill to get to that shack to throw it in. Division X are going to have to move. Daytrade are going to have to move. And again, Angel Alliance themselves will have to move at some point too. And the other 2 teams that need to move as well, that have been doing the tango for the last couple of minutes, is Purple Mood and Ferox. That's going to have to really happen at some point. Oh no, Sophia's denied the window. Neferhor and Sophia have just been eliminated by Cerberus. And 43 alive as we get closer to the 20-minute mark. It's Loki's and Dukesy. Bay continue to struggle as well here on Miramar.
They do, but luckily for them, we'll be moving on to a wrangle after this, so maybe that will bring a welcome change. Either way, keep our attention turned to the teams that do remain here around Monte Nuevo, one of which is Division X Gaming, although I'm not sure how much longer IQ 500 is going to be able to last now that the blue is at his back. You can see the vehicle, damaged wheels, not going to be going too far. So he's going to have to run it in. Angel Alliance. I don't mind this spot that they've got, actually. They have a clear walk in. They've got the high ground. Should be feeling pretty happy. Ferox has just got a bunch of kills. Purple Mood, are they out of the picture? No, there's one player still alive? No, they are eliminated. So
yeah,
Ferox won the 2-on-3 against Purple Mood. Didn't quite get to see it. But they'll be happy with that. Still, they've got a long run to make because they are still in the compound. And the compound is no longer inside of the circle, having seen it shift over Monte Nuevo now.
Yeah, I think the celebrations for Ferox will be very short-lived as they have got probably the hardest path into the circle from here. They do have separate vehicles, but Levi's with a quick knock onto Sweet Soul, so that'll probably spell the end of that little push. Angel Alliance still with 3 up, 4 kills, do have to deal with the pushing day trade eventually at some point. They've got this high ground, but where do they go from here? They've got Bay, the duo for Bay down below. Cerberus and the vantage point that they've got have been very successful here for match number 2. So successful that they've shifted up into second place on the standings. 14 points, just the 1 point now behind LG Divine. Evil Patrick putting that SKS to good use when, well, the MK14 going to be more successful though from Mad Dog, who just continues to frag out. The first 2 matches, Jordan, he has been probably the standout out of almost all of the teams and players.
Well, I wouldn't disagree with you, Xenox, but I would say I'm potentially expecting that to change once this circle shift does come through right on top of LG Divine. I think you might start talking about a few of those players as well. Not to mention Buru Ram out to the western side of the map. They've been quiet so far in Game 2, but remember how they set that kill feed alight in Game 1. You cannot count them out. I think they're a team that's been flying under the radar here for Game 2, and I'm really just waiting for them to get their opportunity. Angel Alliance, they've had a good position. They've had a lot of shots on teams that are rotating in. They haven't really been forced into a high-pressure situation just yet. So they've been making good work happen as a result of that. They've been taking advantage of their opportunities. But now that they're one of those teams that's actually going to have to move and force their way in, the shoe might be on the other foot.
Very well could be, but look at that. 8 kills from Cerberus Esports. They have absolutely taken advantage of the situation they've been put in here for match number 2. There goes Team Ferox. Quickly following will be Battle Arena and Elite, which means we've got 8 teams remaining. 8 kills as well for Angel Alliance, and that will see them shift up into 3rd place, tied with Victim Rise. What a start to the tournament that they've had. It's been almost a fairy tale start, but it may be an evil ending here for match 2 because they have just gone straight into Cerberus Esports. Algen Bots could actually get the double revive here, though, because Haisaki's not going to push to this position. It's Hydra Gaming from behind that might be the recipients of these kills if Angel Alliance are not careful.
Oh, that looks like it was going to be a good grenade. It's gone just a little bit too far, but the information is certainly given over to Angel Alliance. Not sure that it's going to do a whole lot of good, though. Hydra Gaming have landed right on top of them, and it's just Evil Patrick left alive. He's fighting hard. 2 knocks already for him. But how many more can he manage? Maybe better off just ensuring that he does get these 2 points on the board. Hydra Gaming have just backed off. Simon T, actually the last one alive, so it's a 1v1 here for Angel Alliance and Hydra Gaming.
And Evil Patrick's got certainly more to gain here as well. 2 dead bodies. That's going to be 1 confirmed kill, though, for Angel Alliance. They can actually take the lead here if Evil Patrick wins this 1 versus 1. He does have this very small ledge, and he uses it to his advantage to get that slight high ground. 11 kills for Angel Alliance. And the fairy tale run continues here in match 2. They're in top spot. The team from the Philippines are on fire right now. They can't be stopped, and that fire is not being put out. Cerberus, though, well, it looks as if they're going to be set ablaze. No, Sololzi will finish off Fury, who made the mad dash upwards And they are going to be annihilated. 11 kills for Cerberus. They retake top spot. And right now, it just feels like back and forth Cerberus and Angel Alliance in terms of finding these kills. 22 kills here in this second match between just those two teams, Jordan.
That's pretty insane numbers being put up, but that's where we're going to see things slow down now. Right over the top of Monte Nuevo, where all of the teams are going to have the pick of the buildings, exactly what they want. A lot of safety in those buildings. So, for anyone that's already in Monte Nuevo, they're expecting probably a top 3, top 4 kind of a finish here. Likes of Cerberus, which you mentioned, Angel Alliance. They've got a long road in, and even if they were to get in, there isn't really that much real estate left. It's kind of like Sydney. Everything's been bought up by the investors. And there's not a whole lot left for the guys running around looking for the scraps. So, Evil Patrick, I don't know how he gets in here. Like, he would have to somehow really just slip under the radar, get past LG Divine. Cerberus has a little bit of a chance, but coming from the high ground, they can sort of stay up there. They've got the southern part of the circle that they can play with, but for Patrick, down at the bottom of the cliff, it's not a good looking situation at all.
But this is what LG Divine do really good. They don't need to get the flashy kills early on. They get the wins, they get the chicken dinners. And they can find the kills here actually at the end. They've got 4 alive, so they're very well suited to win these fights. The only other team with 4 up is Buriram. They're on the other side, really, of the... I was going to say the map, really. It feels like a mini-map at the moment here in Monte Nuevo. But yeah, they're on the other side. They're not really going to engage unless it comes down to them being the last 2 teams. There's nothing Evil Patrick can really do from here. And I don't think you have any expectations. It's job done from him. I mean, Angel Alliance, what a game. What a first 2 matches that they've had so far on Miramar. He might be able to creep towards LG Divine, get 1 or 2 more. The goal is more than anything just to get placement points. Stay alive and hope that the likes of Buriram run into Magic Esports, Victim Rise, and LG Divine. They all sort of wipe each other out, and then little old Evil Patrick can then shoot up into the top 3, top 4 potentially in terms of placement points. But these teams are so far away from each other, and they've got these buildings, and it's only phase 8, and they're all inside. It's up to Cerberus to make something happen, as you can see on top of this hill. They have to come down, they have to make a play, but they're probably going to have a bunch of teams like Magic Esports and Victim Rise looking upwards, and I'm not sure where Evil Patrick fits up throughout all of this.
Yeah, definitely not going to be easy to get down for Cerberus, but Subang will be the one sent first. He is the sacrificial lamb, so to speak, and looks like he has actually managed to make it to relative safety. Unfortunately, said relative safety is not actually inside of the circle, so he's gotten down off the hill, but he hasn't really done a whole lot to improve his chances just yet. Evil Patrick,
smokes.
He can work this ridge for the moment. As long as no one else looks in his direction, Buriram will definitely be a problem. You can see the angle that they might have through those windows. But they're not looking at him at the moment. So Evil Patrick's given the opportunity to get the smokes down, which will provide him a little bit of extra time to play with. But either way, time is not going to be on his side.
He's doing a decent job, though, isn't he? He's still got 2 more smokes to use. Victim Rise are watching Cerberus. So is Buriram as well. Unfortunately for Cerberus, I don't think they're going to be able to get down the hill. It's only Basil that's still standing, and he's still on top of this hill. Now, Evil Patrick has 1 smoke left. Once he throws this, he might be able to get to it. He's actually in the blue right now. Has to be careful with where he's sort of maneuvering, and in the end does end up dying to Victim Rise. 5 teams remaining here for match number 2 of the day. The PCS3 Apac, Genforce looking to finish off Basil from Cerberus Esports. They're out. We're down to the top 4. We're into the music of doom. The music of excitement.
Oh, that was so eloquent from you, Xenox. It's great to be casting with you against PUBG.
Oh, God.
You're absolutely right, though. We are into the final stages of the game. That's where they bring the music up. That's where things get exciting. It's a 4v4, v2, v2 at the moment, although Magic might be able to get one of their players up, and it looks they have been able to do that in the meanwhile. So, a bit of a better chance for them here. Circle will shrink fairly shortly. It's hard to say who has the best position at the moment, Alex, because everyone's really just on the outskirts of the circle, sitting in their building. I'd maybe make the argument that LG Divine, having pushed out first, making that initial run, might be a little bit more central than everyone else.
Oh, man. This music is fitting right now, I think, with this ever presence of the pushing blue closing in on Victim Rise and Buram, separated by thin paper walls. Edie waiting into the last second. Samoy looks behind him and sees that blue coming in. We've only got a minute and 18 seconds. One running through the hallway. That was Edie. Samoy couldn't capitalize, though, and now he can't even really follow him from behind. It's Nikki, though, for LG Divine. This is where they can put in the work. They've got the numbers. They've got the advantage. They've got the position. They can capitalize here, I think, more than... Look at the amount of smokes! Oh, you can't see anything! There is so many smokes! The nade! The nade! The smoke can't stop the nade! Alex with a double onto Edie and Canaxi. Magic Esports have just blown up Buram United, but God Meow still alive. Jun for LG Divine still up. Of course, they've got the numbers here in the remaining moments of the second match. 4 up for LG Divine. Edie is going to bleed out. God Meow just trying to make a run. The mad dash. They can't see anything. They can't see what's in front of them. God Meow's gone. It's Buram out in 4th. Jun up close. He's flashed. But it's the numbers. LG Divine have got the numbers. I think they're going to get the second chicken dinner. Back to back. Did I not say it about 5 minutes ago that this is where they put in the work? This is where they come up big. They don't need to get 10 kills in the first 20 minutes. They get the kills at the end, and they get the chicken dinner when it matters at the end. Big win for LG Divine. Yes. Woo.
What have I just witnessed, Xenos? That is one of the most bizarre finishes to a game of PUBG that I have ever seen. And I've been watching PUBG for a very, very long time. That was something else. I don't know how many smoke grenades were thrown in at the end there. It was, 20, 30, 40. Pick a number. It's a lucky dip. You pull something out, it's probably pretty close to it. But look, I think the key takeaway there is